Hi, I'm Jean Ann Duckworth, and today's word is transition. Yeah, I know I look a little rough today, but I've been busy today. I made 3 batches of cookies and a batch of brownies, and I've created a longer video, my message for tomorrow, and just a lot of other things that I'm working on. In addition, I teach my Bible study tonight. It starts up again. So let's get started because I still have things to do before I leave. Transition. Let me differentiate, in my humble opinion, between change and transition. Change is a major shift in your life. You get laid off from your job, something happens and you have to relocate to a brand new city. That's a huge change. That just kind of upsets everything and requires some adaptation in your life. Transition is a little more subtle than that. You might not get laid off from your job, but maybe you get transferred to a new department. And maybe you don't have to move to a brand new city, but something happens and you have to move to a new place, like we did a few years ago. That's more of a transition. There's still a shift. There's can still be some pain that goes with it. But it's not nearly as bad as a change is. Uh, Transitions you can kind of roll with. Change sometimes hits you right in the stomach. I bring this up because, well, for 2 reasons. Number one, my theme for this month with my blog and my podcast and all that is change because it's autumn and there's a lot of change that goes on in autumn. But a lot of it's kind of a transitional change. The leaves don't just suddenly change overnight, they slowly make this shift. And it's just a good time to kind of look at your life. Anyway, uh, some things I'm going through are a change, and some things are a transition. The class I teach tonight, I've been teaching for about 6 years, and even though it isn't on our church campus proper, it's in a building next door that the church owns for a couple more months. And then the escrow should go through on the sale and we won't own it anymore. In other words, I have to find a new place to do this. Uh, in some ways, this is a change, and I could really get myself stirred up about it. But I'm trying to look at it as a transition. God's been after me a long time to get busy with starting this ministry, and I kind of put it off. So, this thing with having to find a new place for our class is just what I needed. I have a deadline the first of the year, and I know what I have to do, and I have some ideas. It might be a gentle transition. We might just come here to our place for a while. But I know eventually I need to find a permanent location. So that's kind of a transition. You see, in scripture is filled with transition. Uh, Jesus was crucified, resurrected, and eventually ascended into heaven. Things didn't just end there. There was this transition that took place. In fact, it was more of a transition than a change because he wasn't crucified and resurrected and he was just gone. Instead, for 40 days, he was still around and he still did some ministry. He still worked with the disciples. So it was this shift from Jesus, to the disciples. And does that mean nothing changed when the disciples took over? No, all kinds of things changed. A lot of things changed, but it was this transition. It wasn't this huge change. It was a transition from Barnabas to Paul. It was a transition from Paul to Timothy. There have always been transitions. There were transitions from Moses to Joshua. Scripture is filled with transitions. There's these gentle shifts. It's filled with major changes, but it's also filled with these gentle shifts from one thing to the other that allows us to grow and to adapt and to make things better. I guess that's the big thing about transitions, and it's why I want you to think about it. you have a whole quarter of the year still left. And rather than trying to kill yourself January 1st with these resolutions, take time now to think about what you want to achieve in the coming year and start making those gradual transitions to get you ready. So when the first of the year comes, you're ready to do two things. One is to act on it, and the second thing is following the holidays, you need a little bit of a breather. So you can, in January, just slowly begin this transitional phase and start moving into what it is you want to do. Transitions, they're not the kick in the head that a change might be, but they're still a necessary part of our life so that we always keep moving ahead. I'm Jean Ann Duckworth. I need to go clean up and change clothes and get ready to teach Bible study tonight. We're discussing Empowered by Truth, finishing up our survey of 1st and 2nd Timothy. So until tomorrow, today's word, transitions. Have a great day.